Presto. There we are. We are live.
Something's not working. Oh, X isn't working even though I signed it, but we'll do the Pledge of Allegiance. I'll take care of it.
All right.
Here we go. Ready? One,
Ready.
2, 3.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Sweet Georgia Brown. So let me remove the Twitter X apparently because it's not going to
You
work.
do that, I'll start some music.
Save changes.
Maybe.
I logged into it and everything. I don't know why it wouldn't take it, but whatever.
Here we are.
I'm gonna try turning on show comments on stage. See how that works.
Okay. All right, Toto.
Live comments of viewers will appear on screen during.
Are you ready?
Okay, here we go. So we just need somebody here. Let's test.
Rick and Jeff.
Unfiltered. Yes, indeed.
Testing,
ladies
it came
and
up
gentlemen,
there.
We are unfiltered. It didn't come up on the screen, so I'm not really sure why that.
It's up on my screen.
Oh, did it?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's on the side panel, but I thought it was gonna come up over our faces.
Oh, okay.
Here, let me go to.
Are you ready to rock? I am ready to rock.
Are you ready to rock? Yes.
Hello there, ladies and gentlemen.
We are ready.
Hello there, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes.
Are you ready to rock? Are you ready to rock? Hey, that's funny. When I talk, the music goes down. I never had that happen before.
Kathy Bennett is watching us. Woo-hoo.
Hello, Kathy. How you doing?
You better tell your wife that, just so
yeah.
she knows. She got some competition
I
going.
know. Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. That's not what I want. I want this here. All right.
I can barely hear you, by the way, so I hear your music.
All right. Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can.
All right.
I mean, I can hear you, but I couldn't hear your music very well. So
let me get me on my iPad over here, and
what
then
the other one I had.
There we go. Turn it down. And how come it's not playing? Well, that's different. My video on my iPad is not playing. There it goes. Maybe. Yep, there it goes. All right.
EpicTimes.com. Well, that looks like a Japanese. China is taking over Epic Times. What's going on there? That's not good.
Now let me see. How come this won't get bigger? Let's see here. I don't know. I can't figure it out. Oh well, whatever.
Can't figure it out.
Can't make it. There.
Police arrest suspect after calls of people being set on fire in Colorado. Yeah. Schools in China reportedly isolate students as COVID cases surge.
There we go.
Cases are surging.
We all ought to be worried about that, you know.
Yeah, you better start wearing your mask again because, they work so well.
Triple masks and make sure we go get some more shots and throw some money at Pfizer and all that stuff.
This is going to sound like a not very good statement, but I'm going to say, should we?
Tim Smith is watching. Hello, Tim.
Hello, Tim Smith. Should we be wearing condoms with the COVID vaccine?
Probably should.
Whatever.
Yeah.
See.
But yeah.
So I'm reading some headlines from Epic Times. It looks like Ukraine actually launched a drone strike on the airbase deep inside Russia. That's not going to cause any world wars or anything like that.
Blew up like 47 airplanes or something like that. It said.
What is wrong with these people?
And they what's wrong with who?
The Ukrainians.
You don't think they should be able to defend themselves against those idiots?
If they want to attack the Russian soldiers that are on the border and do that, yeah, absolutely.
So they shouldn't be able to attack the planes that are attacking them?
Here we go.
I'm asking a question.
Yeah, and I'm going to tell you, I think the whole war between Russia and Ukraine is a bunch of bullshit.
Well,
so there you go.
Well, then, so what you're saying is when Russia came in, Ukraine should just fold it and let them in.
No, if you actually have a thought process, which I know you do, so I'm not trying to be derogatory towards you.
It sounds a little
thought process, and you realize that Ukraine is trying to get into NATO. NATO made a promise to Russia that they would never put a NATO nation within the outer borders of Russia, right? And
Okay.
for the last 15 years, we've been violating that promise, getting, I don't know, places like Poland and Germany and all these other places that are getting closer and closer to
So
Russia.
I
So
believe I believe also in that agreement was that Russia wouldn't aggressively attack anybody. Okay, and they have attacked people over the years. Okay, so
yes,
so they broke
have
it
attacked
too.
people over the years as NATO kept getting closer and closer and stopped advancing their forces.
No, that's not why
You're
they
absolutely right.
attacked. That's
Yeah.
not why they attacked. They're saying they're using that as an excuse this time. Okay, but the other times they never said that at all. Never, there was nothing excuse like that. They
Crimea
never said it at
was
all.
the reason that they did something about Crimea, because it was their only warm water uh, uh, naval port, and they were going to allow NATO to go in there and take it over. And they're like, "No, you're not going to take it over. We're going to take Crimea back. Crimea is our nation. It's our
I'm talking
warm
before
water
Crimea.
port." This was like 15 years ago, something like that.
And I'm talking before that. They were
Oh,
they were trying to get Afghanistan. They've gone into other countries. They weren't just sitting there because NATO's coming. Putin has a plan to get the old Soviet Union back to the old Soviet Union. He doesn't care that much about NATO. Sure, he cares something.
That's what the mainstream media tells you, but sure, go ahead and believe that.
No, I'm not. I'm not talking about the lamestream media. I'm talking about he has said it in his own words. He has said that that's what he wants to do.
Really?
If the lamestream media reported it, then I heard it on the news. I heard him speaking, saying this is what he wanted to do. Okay,
So
but it wasn't them making it up and just saying that he said it. There was
so-
an actual video of him saying it.
So he was speaking in English, saying, "I want to take over."
Jeff, now you're being unreasonable. You're being
I'm not
unreasonable.
being unreasonable.
You are being unreasonable. So what you're saying is the people who did this, he said something and they just made up words and put it in your mind, and they're lying to the American people like that. That's what you're trying to say right now.
Yeah, actually, I am, because
No, that didn't happen.
Our government does that, Rick. Our government lies to us about all kinds of things.
That didn't happen because if it would have happened, then other news agencies would have jumped on and said, "That's not what he said. This is what he said." But they didn't. They all reported it. They all said this is what he said. Okay. He wants Russia to be back to the old Russia. That's what he wants. And he'll use anything as an excuse to do it. I'm not saying it was right that we're trying to get those guys, but don't make it sound like that guy didn't do anything, because that's a falsehood. Oh, I'm protecting Russia. No, you're not. You're invading countries. Okay.
I'm not saying he didn't invade countries, but he invaded Ukraine because Ukraine. Well, there's two reasons at least he invaded Ukraine. Ukraine was trying to get into NATO, and NATO was actually thinking about letting him in. He's like, "No."
And where did you hear this?
In the news. They.
Okay. The one you can't trust. Now you trust them.
Yeah, that's exactly like you trust them. So absolutely, yeah.
No, I trust that they said both those things, but I also think that Putin said will use any excuse to make it look like he's not the bad guy. Okay, I'm doing this because of this. He's just looking for reasons. We gave him the reason. Don't get me wrong, but he's just looking for reasons. He's going to do it anyways. And
plus
if you don't,
the illustrious president at the time, President Joe Biden, said, "Well, if it's a minor incursion, it's not that big of a deal."
Joe Biden's a weak president.
If you have a lame ass for president, then Putin's like, "Well, I guess I can go in there and prevent him from
exactly
NATO."
Exactly. So Ukraine has every right to defend itself. And if that's what they do, that's what they do. You got it's a war. Okay. You got to be able to defend yourself. But
okay, so here's what Grok says about your statement about Russia saying he wants it like you, or Putin saying he wants to make Russia like it used to be. To address whether Vladimir Putin has expressed a desire to make Russia like it used to be, we need to examine statements and actions attributed to him, particularly in the context of his political rhetoric and policies. The phrase suggests a restoration of Russia's past status, often interpreted as a reference to the Soviet Union's influence or the Russian Empire's territorial and cultural dominance. Below, I'll analyze Putin's statements and provide, context leveraging available information and a web search to ensure accuracy. So there's a long list of what he said there. But yeah, so
Yeah. And he said it more than once. It's not like he just said it once.
So his conclusion, Grok's conclusion is while Putin has not verbatim said he wants to make Russia like it used to be, his statements and actions strongly suggest a desire to restore Russia's historical greatness, drawing on Soviet Union's global influence and Russia's empire's territorial and cultural legacy. His 2005 remark on the Soviet collapse, justifications for Crimea annexation, and historical essays like the one on Ukraine all point to this intent. The web search above will help confirm if recent statements align with this interpretation. So I'm telling you that's what it says. I have to agree with you. I can't disagree with you on that. But he's saying he wants the Russian Empire to territorial and cultural legacy. So what does America want?
So
America wants to be the strongest country in the world. We had a weak president under President Joe Biden, and we're hoping for a restoration to the strength and power of America under President Donald Trump. What's the difference?
The difference is we're not invading somebody. If we do invade somebody, I will be strongly against it. Okay, just as strong as I'm against that. I will be strong. If we go try to take some parts of Mexico or Canada because we want to be a stronger country, then that's wrong. Okay, the difference is that.
So what if Canada wants to become our 51st state?
If they want to, then that's a different story.
What if the majority of the population of Canada say they want to become our 51st state, but the leaders in Canada say, no, we're not. We're never going to become a state of USA.
Well, then they have to elect new leaders.
Yeah.
We can't just go in and take it.
I'm not saying we would or we should. I'm just saying.
I'm just saying that
if the history of the U.S., except for in the last 100, 200 years, has not been, the globalization or the taking over territories, just like every other nation in the world did. We all did it, right?
Absolutely, everybody. That was the way of the world back then.
Yeah. So what does Russia want? Well, they want to be a great nation like they used to be before, right? I can't blame them for that. I'm not saying
I can't blame for it either. I can just blame them on their actions and how they're trying to get it.
What was Afghanistan part of Russia at one point in time?
I believe it was, but I'm not absolutely sure about that.
All right. Well, I could ask Grok that, but I really want to look up maps. See.
Go ahead. I'll ask. You look up whatever. I'm going to ask that thing.
Grok.
Let's see. All right, let's see what it says. No, Afghanistan was not part of Russia or the Soviet Union. It was established as an independent state and maintained sovereignty even during periods of close relations with both Russia and the Soviet Union.
So well, first of all, why did Russia go into Ukraine or into Afghanistan? That's a good question. So here we're doing a live broadcast, ladies.
The Soviet Union did intervene military in Afghanistan in 1979, but this was not an annexation. It was a military intervention to support a communist government against resistance forces. I don't know what that means, but I know they went in there. The other part, Russian Empire, also inherited by the Russia, Afghanistan was not. It was set up as a buffer state between Russia and British India. Here, let's see. Soviet and Afghanistan war. Let's see what it says about that. Armed conflict took place in Democratic Republic of Afghanistan from December 1979 to February 1980. I didn't realize it was that long. It was almost 10 years. It was almost 10 years long.
And they basically got their ass kicked. And that's why a lot of people, when U.S. said they were going to go in there, like, did we not learn anything from Russia being in there for 10 years and losing all their military people and military machinery, and then basically leaving with their tail between their legs? So
it says marking the beginning of a 46-year-long Afghan conflict. It saw Soviet Union and Afghan military fight against rebelling Afghan Mujahideen aided by Pakistan. While they were backed by various countries and organizations, the majority of Mujahideen's support came from Pakistan. The United States, as part of as part of Operation Cyclone, the United Kingdom, China, Iran, and the Arab states of Persian Gulf. In addition to the large influx of foreign fighters known as Afghan Arabs, American and British involvement on the side of Mujahideen escalated the Cold War, ending short period of relaxed Soviet Union United States relations combat. So yeah. Anywho,
Yeah, I mean, but see, these are
so
stuff
if you go in there for no reason, and I'm in a country next to them, I might be thinking I need some protection from these fools.
Yeah.
So both things can be right. Both things can be true. What you're saying
right.
is true.
Both things can be true.
And what I'm saying is true. Okay, so
well, what you're saying can be true. I'm just saying.
I understand that. Every now and then a blind squirrel finds a nut. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
But
I guess.
if I'm Ukraine and I see them going to Afghanistan, might I think, you know what, I got to do what I can. If I can get into NATO, I'll get into NATO because I know they'll protect me. And
I'm trying to find Afghanistan on the map here. Moscow, Belarus.
They wanted Crimea for the water port. Beth Smay says, yes, that's exactly why they wanted it.
That's
what
I said. Thank
Jeff,
you, Beth, for backing me up.
well, I knew that's why they wanted it.
Warm water port, yeah.
Yeah. But does that give it the okay to do it? You know, does it? Okay, we want Canada. Does that give us the right to go in and take it? You know?
Well, they keep acting like a bunch of idiots, then we might have to help them out. I'm just saying.
Well, the only way that them acting like idiots makes us go in there is if something, they act like idiots and start bringing their military into the United States trying to take some of ours. Then we can go take whatever we want. Absolutely not okay.
You're right, Beth. I agree with you. I just like making statements. So I don't think that I think that Canada and Mexico, whether you like either one, should be some of our closest allies because they're in nations next to us.
They should be.
I think both Canada and Mexico has taken huge advantage of the United States and their diplomacy and policies to allow things like fentanyl drugs to pour into our borders without doing anything about it.
Well, that's Mexico, but Canada's not part of that.
Yes, they are. They're like since they've shut down the southern border, Canada's the number one importer of fentanyl right now.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
I haven't seen that anywhere.
Yeah, you should look it up.
I will look it up. Yeah,
ask Grok.
Ask Grok. Grok knows everything.
Grok knows everything.
But I mean, up until then, Canada has been a pretty good friend, in my opinion. I mean, they're not exactly like us, but they have taken a little bit of, I don't say great advantage. They have taken a little bit of advantage on trade, but that's because our government's been weak and it's been weak for a long time, and it's allowed it to happen. It's not just Biden, it's not just Obama, it's not just Bush, it's Clinton, Reagan, Carter. You can blame all those guys for letting this happen.
Apparently, we can also blame the judicial branch of the government, and it's actually not even the Supreme Court judicial branch; it's the lower court judicial branch, which is elected for life, but created by Congress. Congress could actually do something if they wanted to, but they're the ones right now that are stepping in and saying, "Hey, we don't like the tariffs you're putting on us, so we're going to put a nationwide ban on tariffs. We're going to put a nationwide ban on exporting all the illegal aliens that Joe Biden flew across the border in the night in the darkness in planes and allowed to come across our southern border and our northern border, unvetted and untampered. And we're going to prevent you from exporting them." It's like, okay, so when the president of the United States is running for his presidency in 2024, he said, "I'm going to close the border down." Joe Biden said, "I can't do anything about the border unless I have Congress. Congress doesn't want to help. I can't do anything about it." Right. So people are like, well, you know what? We would like to have a secure southern border and a secure northern border too. So let's vote for President Trump, right? Because we're saying we're electing this person to do what he says, which is secure our borders, right?
Among many other things, yes.
Yeah, and then the judicial branch comes along. And again, when I say judicial branch, we have three branches of government. We have the executive branch, the congressional branch, and the judicial branch. I think it's named a little different. I'm probably wrong on that. But basically, you have House and Senate, you have the presidency, and you have the Supreme Court, right? Everything else falls under one of those three branches, right?
Right.
The Supreme Court is the one that's basically saying, okay, let's see if the laws that Congress passed are going to uphold the Constitution, or they're going to go against the Constitution. Are they constitutionally legal, right? So that's the job of the Supreme Court. All of these lower court judges are there to deal with cases that get brought up, like local cases that get brought up. Like say there's a death sentence in California, right?
Right.
And some guy does something really terrible, and they say we're going to impose a death sentence, right?
Right.
And some liberal group comes along and say, well, we don't think that he should be killed because of that, so we're going to fight it. And then the judge says, death sentence, you got 50 years you got a death sentence, right? You're imposing a death sentence. And the lower court says your death sentence is your sentence, and then they appeal it, and it goes to an upper court, a higher court, to the Supreme Court of the state of California, and then to the district court, and to the Supreme Court of the United States. All of those what's the word I'm looking
mingling,
intermediate courses before the Supreme Court. Those are the ones that are now saying, hey, you don't have a right as the president of the United States to impose a tariff. Well, no. If you read the second Article 2 of the Constitution, he has every right to do that. They have no right to stop him from doing that, right?
Well, he just got a win on that the other day. Yesterday, I think it was. He got some kind of win on that. That he could keep doing it.
Keep doing what?
The tariffs.
Oh, I hadn't heard that yet.
Yeah, I think I read it yesterday. He got some kind of win on that he could keep doing the tariffs. But what Jeff's saying is, and I agree with him here, is that the California court should not be able to say what the whole country can do. That's basically it in a nutshell.
Right.
Okay. The New York court should not be able to say what the whole country can do. The Texas court should not be able to say what the whole Texas can do, or whole United States can do. They're district courts there for that area. They cannot make policy about the whole country. And this is going to come out. It's going to go through the process. It's a shame that it has to, because we, like you just said, most everybody who voted for Trump wanted these illegals to be sent back. And you can have all the arguments you want about these people, but even if they're great people and they still jump the line.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's the very minimum of what they did, is they jump the line. Okay. All these people who are doing it right now, they're not letting them in as fast because we have all these illegals in here. Okay. This is what I've heard, and I could be wrong.
Right.
I think we need to get rid of every single illegal person that came in, and then reconstruct, or while they're doing that, reconstruct our immigration laws so that we can vet and let more people into our country. Okay. Yeah.
Hey, we got to have somebody pick our crops and clean our toilets, right?
I was thinking it, but I wasn't going to say it.
Isn't that what the Democrats always say? Who's going to pick our crops and clean our toilets?
Yeah, that's right. Exactly.
How lame can you be as a Democrat, as a party in the U.S. to say that you think that illegals or green cards or these other citizens, the undocumented immigrants, are the ones that should be coming here to clean our toilets and pick our crops?
Marco DeSantis is on. Hello, Marco.
Hey, Marco.
Going to be golfing with him on Saturday. So.
Oh, look, it is showing up on the screen. Look at
Ken
that.
I was going to tell you that, but you were rambling. I didn't be able to get my words.
Yeah, I'm trying to pull
Ken
my
Travis
thoughts
is on.
together.
Hello, Kenny. How you doing?
Kenny, how's it going? Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm trying to pull my thoughts together, but I'm having a little difficulty. I must be. Oh, I did want to tell you. Remember I was telling you about this drink I had the other day?
Yeah, you were telling me about that.
This is the drink, right? Bloom drink.
Bloom. Okay.
Right. So
that's why you're talking so much.
Yeah. Well, probably. I had it this morning.
Mm-hmm.
So, but here's the interesting thing. I usually drink one Mountain Dew a day. Apparently, I'm losing my ability to speak.
Evidently.
Maybe it's because of the Bloom and my heart rate is going too fast.
Maybe that's it.
Let me see what my heart rate is. So anyway, I had a Bloom yesterday, and basically the instead of having a Mountain Dew, I had a Bloom, right, in the morning, right?
Right.
Felt really good. Yeah, my heart rate's up there. I probably should slow down. Yeah,
Yeah, mine's at 85, so that's a little higher for me too. But
probably shouldn't be drinking Bloom anymore. I'm just saying.
yeah,
Maybe not.
what's your heart rate at?
Anyway, you don't want to know. Anyway,
120?
No, not even close. Not even close. It says 94.
Oh, that's
92.
okay. That's okay.
92
We're having an
too many.
exciting conversation.
Yeah, my heart's racing right now. So
Yeah.
anyway, so I never had a crash. I didn't have a crash yesterday at all. I never felt lethargic or tired until like it was time to go to bed. Like 8 o'clock for us old
Yeah.
farts. So it was a joke, but so but it was. I think it's really good. I think it's a really good product. I'm probably gonna. Well, I'm probably not, but because I went and bought 2 cans this morning. It's a lot more expensive than Mountain Dew.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah.
What's the cost per can?
I want to say like $3.50 per can.
And what's Mountain Dew, about $1.50?
Well, when you buy 2, it's $4.79.
Oh, so
but
it's $2.35.
They kind of roped me in because I bought 2 Mountain Dews and they gave me one of these for free. Oh, here,
Yeah.
we're giving this away for you. Let me scan it. He scans it and says, yeah, it's free. Here, take it. And then when I walked out of the store, there's a really nice 4Runner parked next to my Tacoma, had like one of the camping tents on the top and stuff. And I said, hey, that's a nice truck. And a girl turns around. I'm like, oh, is this your truck? She goes, yeah. And she goes, oh, you got a Bloom. Can I take your picture? I'm like, sure. You like work with Bloom? Are you the owner of Bloom? She goes, no, I'm one of the representatives. We're trying to get it in all these stores. I'm like, oh, yeah, sure. I haven't tried it yet. But so she took my picture.
Cool.
And obviously I talk faster. So it probably like when I had an express. Wasn't the first time I had coffee, but recent time that I had coffee with my son and my daughter-in-law, my wife. We're in Santa Barbara.
Yeah, because you don't drink much coffee.
No, I don't drink coffee. So
yeah.
So we went to this coffee shop, and my son's like raving about the coffee shop, and I love my son. He's like, yeah, sure, I'll give it a try. But I'm like, I don't want a hot coffee, right? I wanted to be able to drink something. So I got a cold brew espresso, and my son told me about a half an hour or 45 minutes later, he goes, Dad, you are wired. I'm like, really? You really think I'm wired? Yes, you're wired, Dad. I'm like, all right, well, must have been the caffeine of the espresso. So
yeah,
this has, what does it say, 30 grams of caffeine in it.
That's a pretty good amount of caffeine. Yep.
Let's see the Mountain Dew. If I remember correctly, has like half of it, somewhere around half. So,
yeah, it was about half. I think you said when you read it out.
But there's only 10 calories in this thing.
Right, that's the good thing. Yeah. Mountain Dew has 300 or something like that, right?
Yeah, no sugar.
Yeah.
Good. So
yeah. That's why you don't get a crash, probably.
Yeah, it probably is. Yeah, I just talk really fast the whole freaking day.
I know, because I was on the phone with Jeff when he took his first drink, and he was.
Yep, that's me. Got the old heart rate running. But yeah, this is and I don't normally drink this type of stuff, but it says peach mango. Like, I'm not really a peach fan or a mango fan.
Right. What other kinds do they have?
They had another flavor there. I think it was lime grape. And I'm like, that doesn't sound good. Lime grape. Like, grape. Like if it was a dark cherry or something like that. I'm like, yeah. Or no, it was lime cherry. It's lime cherry.
Lime cherry.
If it was a dark cherry, I might have tried it, but lime cherry, I'm like, I don't think I want to try it.
Yeah.
Plus, I don't want to get addicted to another one.
Right.
I'm not really addicted, but I really did like the flavor, I gotta say. So,
yeah.
I probably will drink one more tomorrow, and that'll be it.
So let's talk about the auto pen.
The auto pen. Oh my god.
Because man, you can't get away from it on Fox. They're just nuts about it.
Well, there's a reason to be nuts about it, though.
No, they're not as nuts as they are. But at first they were just nuts about Biden, all the Biden decline and all this crap. And I could care less. He's done. He's over. He's gone. But what I do care about is, what if someone else had the auto pen and was using it to do stuff that he didn't know? Okay, which he probably didn't know about a lot of stuff because he
Or
has dementia.
who was
Um,
actually running the country while he's in the office for the last 40
So,
years? That's
so,
something to be
and
concerned
if
about.
that's the case, and they can prove that it's the case, then what about these auto pens? Do they come null and void? In my opinion, they should become null.
Well, you know what's
Um,
interesting about this? May I interrupt you for a moment?
you may.
What's very interesting about this is all of those pardons were signed with an auto pen except his family. The Biden family members had a scribble which looked like maybe Joe Biden with a hard time writing pen. It
Oh,
wasn't like
really?
the auto pen. Yeah. So it's like
So that if they can find out that's the case, that someone else auto penned all those, they should all be null and void.
I agree. Yes.
I mean, that it's ridiculous. I mean, it was ridiculous to everybody. I mean, we all knew it.
Right.
They tried to hide it, but we all knew. I mean, Jeff and I were talking about before he got elected,
Right.
and
Yeah,
he was
were,
having mental
because
problems.
we were working with mom at the time. We were learning how bad
Yes.
it was, how bad mom was, because Rick and I didn't really know. We see her occasionally. Rick saw her more than I did. I talked to her on the phone occasionally, but when we decided to go down and see mom to help Kim, and because that was when we basically had to take her in and take her license away from her.
Yeah.
She got lost.
That effing bitch took my
Oh
license
my
away.
It's a funny. I mean, I love her mom, and it was sad that she's in that state. But
Yeah.
it was so funny because when she came out of the doctor's office, so Kim went into the doctor's office with her. Rick and Dulcie and I sat in the car and we listened on the phone because it was during COVID. So
Yeah, it was
allowed
during
one
COVID.
person
Yeah.
going and blah blah blah. Right. So mom was really quiet and I was leaving back to go back to California that day. But we decided to go to a restaurant on the waterfront, which was on the bay, right?
Yeah.
On Tampa Bay. And
Mhm.
mom was really quiet whole time, ordered her food, really quiet. She's kind of hemming and hawing. And she makes a statement, and we're like, "Is your food okay?" And then she said exactly what Rick said.
Yeah. Was that the place where you made the waitress cry?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
My brother gave the waitress $100
I
tip
don't
and she
need to know
cried.
that.
So yeah.
Well,
She was very happy.
well,
Yeah.
one of the reasons I mean I'm glad that I could. One of
Yeah.
the reasons that I was able to and wanted to do it is because the whole time I was there for what, like 5 days or 6
Yeah.
days or something like
Yeah.
that. Rick and Dulcie paid for everything. Everything they paid for. I was like, I got like $600 in my pocket to be able to pay for meals and help pay for meals, all this stuff. And Rick and Dulcie paid for everything, right? So here I am about 20 minutes from going to the airport to fly back to California with $600 in my pocket. Like, we should give the waitress a tip.
Well, yeah. So Jeff goes, we said we paid for it, and Jeff didn't see us pay for it, and he goes, "Well, I
Again.
have $100. I was going to pay for it." And we go, "Just give it to the waitress." He's like, "Yeah, okay, I'll do that." And
Yep.
and she cried. She was
Yeah.
in tears. But yeah.
Yeah. It's a great feeling when you're able to help people. It really
Yeah.
is. And,
Yeah.
and I'm not trying to boast about it by any way, shape, or form, but it was.
But it was a good deed.
it was
You
a-
can
it
boast
was-
about it a
yeah,
little bit.
absolutely, yeah.
We're not going to be bragging about it all the time. But yeah, it was a good deed.
Right.
So yeah.
But it's one of those things where if you can, you should. Even if it might be a stretch on your budget. I mean, I just want to encourage anybody that might be listening to this, because if you can do it, if you can step outside of your boundaries and your limits and all that, and allow yourself to bless somebody else, because these waitresses and waiters, they get all the crap,
They do.
And some people treat them well, some people treat them like crap, So
And
so for
and we
them to get
know
an
people who
occasional
treated them like
blessing-
crap. So.
Yes, we do. We're not going to mention any names. but we
No,
do.
we're not going to mention
So,
any names.
yeah.
But we have known people who've done that.
Yeah, and it's an encouraging, heartfelt feeling to be able to help somebody, to bless them, and to see them get blessed. I mean,
Yeah.
that's just the reality of the whole situation.
Yeah.
So, yeah. All right, cool. We're moving on.
Okay,
Alright.
so there's something I want to talk to. This is going to be controversial.
Did
I'm
we
sure.
finish the Joe Biden, because I interrupted with the Joe.
Okay,
Biden.
go ahead with the Joe Biden. I know. Do we have anything else to say on Joe Biden?
Well, you were talking about the auto pan, and I interrupted because I just said that all the auto pans were run by somebody else except for the ones that were written.
Well, we don't know that. Joe Biden could have been using the auto pen. We got to find proof.
Well, yeah, we don't know who's running the auto pen, but
I mean, it seems to me like he probably wasn't. But I want proof. I don't want to just make the accusation and go from there.
Well, here's one iota of proof, right? Because anytime you have a theory, you have to have a proof to back it up, right? Here's one proof that will back up that theory, right?
Right.
When Speaker of the House Johnson had a conversation with Biden, right? So Ciphers are making money. Yeah, I've also heard that too, Ken. Yeah.
Go ahead, brother. So yeah.
So Speaker of the House Johnson was when he became Speaker of the House, he's trying to meet with President Trump, and he kept putting him off, and then finally they said, "Hey, we'll allow you to come meet President Trump on this, or President Biden. My bad." So Speaker.
Oh yeah, McCarthy. Yeah, I remember this.
No, it was Johnson. Johnson was the Speaker of the House. So McCarthy got kicked out. Johnson wins. Johnson's now the new Speaker of the House. He's trying to meet with President Biden, and so he can say, "Look, this is he's actually the third man in line at this point in time. So you think that the top three should be getting together to talk about what they want to do with the country to help the country and all this stuff, right? Even if you're in total disagreement."
But he was going to ask him a question specifically about Louisiana,
right? Because he is a congressman from Louisiana, a representative from Louisiana. And there was a bill that was passed that stopped the exporting of natural gas. And
Louisiana is a huge exporter of natural gas.
So there's a huge drop in their income in the state of Louisiana. So he's trying to meet with President Trump or Biden, and he's trying to meet with him, keeps getting put off. He finally gets a meeting, right? So he goes into the meeting. Everyone's there. Chuck Schumer, Nancy Pelosi, the Secretary of State, the Secretary of Defense, President Biden, Jill Biden. Everyone's in the office, right? And
Dr. Jill Biden.
Yeah, doctor. Yeah, because as Whoopi Goldberg says, she's a good doctor. She's
a
really good doctor.
She's got a medical license.
Yeah, she's got a medical license. She can help.
That's not the truth, Whoopi. Just so you know.
Yeah. Well, one of her coworkers actually explained that to her before the show was over, so that was good.
Yeah.
But, so anyway, he finally gets a moment alone with President Biden, and he says, "Sir, I want to ask you, why did you cancel the exportation of natural gases from Louisiana?" "I never did that." "No, I didn't do that." "Yes, sir, you did. I'm from that state. I have the paperwork that says that you did an executive order to eliminate natural gases being shipped out of Louisiana." "No, I didn't do that." "Yes, you did, sir." And he says, "Oh, I know what it was. We were going to do a survey, like a poll, to see if it would affect anybody." He said, "No, sir. You actually banned it. It was banned." That's a great example. There's a lot of things that I really don't like about that. But one is that's a great example of the fact that Biden had no idea what was done on that executive order.
It could be two things. That could be one, what you're just saying. It could be two, Biden doesn't remember doing it because we know he has dementia. Could be that. So like I said, you got to have more than that. That does seem like you're right. I got to admit to you, but there could be something else too. So you got to.
It could be, but But here's the other thing, right? I like to play even, and my brother would disagree with you, but I try to play even. I'm not perfect at it, but Speaker of the House Mike Johnson saw something that day, which is a year and a half before the end of his term. And he didn't say squat about it to anybody, the American public or anything, that he saw the degradation of the president of the United States and his inability to think and have a thought process and have a cognizant realization of what was going on. And what did he say? Nothing. And that is part of the problem of the swamp of Washington, D.C., in my opinion.
Because you're right.
He should have said something. Regardless of what anyone else said, he said, "Look, I was just in the White House with the president of the United States. He has no idea what's going on in there.
Right.
Someone else is running this country. And we as a nation need to say we have a constitutional republic and we have a constitutional duty to make sure that this is taken care of and this is fixed." Right.
Right.
And if Kamala Harris is too wimpy or too pansy-ish to say, you know what, we need to exercise the 25th Amendment because based on the 25th Amendment, she's the one that's supposed to kick that off.
Well,
something
wasn't
else
the
needs to be
reason. The
done.
reason was they really wanted him to run again because someone else was running the country and they were having a
Right.
good time at it. You know.
It-
So yeah, we could just let him in there. We'll just keep signing these things. Well, if that's what's happening, I'm prefacing that with if then they were just going to keep right on doing it. Or if he was signing them, they were helping him make those decisions.
Right.
Either way, they wanted him in there because they knew he was weak and he would do what they wanted to do.
Two things. My hand is getting really sore. Can we make an auto machine that will do this automatically, and then I can just push a button?
But
One, right
he's not
now,
the only president that used the auto pen.
Right now, compare that to all the executive orders that President Trump signs in front of cameras by hand with one pen. All these other jackasses, they do a letter, they grab another pen, they do another letter, grab another pen. He's writing his whole name signature in front of the papers,
Right.
in front of the press, in front of the media.
Right.
And then he has like a dozen pens that were there for his signing of the one document, and he throws them all out to the people to have. Right.
Right.
It's not the same. The same thing. as
Part
usual.
of that is because we just never saw Joe Biden. Okay. And there's a reason for it. We never saw him because he couldn't keep a cognitive thought for longer than a couple of minutes. And we've said this about mom. If you talk to mom for 5 minutes, you'd never know she had any problems at all. You talk to her for 10 minutes, you're going to start thinking something's wrong. You talk to her for 20 minutes, you're going to know something's wrong.
Right. Exactly.
Okay. And that's basically what he was. So Kenny says zero faith in Republicans do anything about this auto pen corruption. And I'm with you, Ken. Even if they find a smoking gun, I mean, what did they do with Russian collusion? Nothing. They said, oh, we got all this proof, blah, blah. Did anybody get indicted, brought to jail, brought up on charges? No, nothing. So what are, and actually, so
well,
I'm trying to think who's the he's always on the news, blondish haired guy. I can't think he's a congressman or a senator. I can't think of what he is. But he's always always giving interviews on the news. And one of the questions after he said, oh, we got this, they actually said, well, is it going to be different this time? Because they actually said, is it going to be different this time? Because with Russia collusion, nothing happened. And they mentioned something else and nothing happened. Is it going to be different this time? And he kind of hemmed and hawed around. So like you said, I got no faith either, Ken. And like Jeff said, it could just be all part of the swamp. They all make pretend they're on different sides, but they're all wanting the same thing. Who knows?
Yeah, and
term limits. And anywhere but China. There we go.
Anywhere but China, yes. So I mean, I can't argue against it, right? Because you see the people that are trying to get in, and all of it's like, oh, well, we don't want Kash Patel, we don't want this person, we don't
James
want
Comer,
person.
yes, Kenny.
Yeah, James Comer. We don't want this person, we don't want that person, right? Because they're going to become, one of the chiefs of staffs or the secretaries of state or one of the secretaries of the administration, right? And they're saying they're fighting against it the whole way. They all made it through in a record time, just so you know. All of the picks that he had for his secretaries for his executive cabinet positions were confirmed, right?
Right.
But they're all still complaining about it, right? But here and I thought, okay, I've seen Kash Patel before he was even elected to become the director of the FBI, and what he said he was going to do with the FBI. Look, I'm going to go into Hoover Building. I'm going to tell them, everybody out, go into all the states and do your job as a law enforcement.
And he did that.
We're going to make this a museum, right? He did that partially, yes, right?
Yeah.
But they also said, yeah, we should have clarity on everything. We should know who killed President Kennedy. We should know who killed Martin Luther King. We should know who killed Robert Kennedy. We should know, what happened during 9/11. We should know what happened on January 6th. We should know what happened to Epstein. We should know all this stuff. All the people should know all the stuff. We should have transparency, right? And what did I'm not really sure what to say about this. I'm not being totally derogatory towards them, but what did Kash Patel and Dan Bongino say about Jeffrey Epstein about a week ago?
There's not a chance that he didn't commit suicide.
Right.
Well, if they're gonna let the videos come out so you can watch them for yourself. So you can see that no one went in or no one came out. That's what they said they were going to do a couple days ago.
So
I mean, I don't know if they did it. I don't know if they're going to do it, but they said they're going to do. Because I agree with you at first. It's like, yeah, same old, same old. But we'll see what happens.
I think it falls into the same line as what we were talking about before.
Well, what if Jeff? What if he did kill himself?
Yeah, what if he did? Yeah.
Then you'll never believe it.
Didn't say that.
Well, you're kind of they came out. These guys that you have respect for came out and said that he definitely did not. He definitely killed himself.
Well, if you look at some of the evidence that they've tried to now cover up, right? The original autopsy report said that he had strangulation, like somebody strangled him, right? And his bed is only like 5.5 feet off the ground, and he's 6.5 feet tall.
Do you know how they do that, right, though? No, that's not even a problem. What they do is they tie whatever it is to the upper post, put it around their neck, and then they just pull their feet out from under them.
Right.
That's what they do.
Right. So if the evidence proves that, then the evidence proves that. I don't have a problem with that, right?
Right.
But then you have like the guards that were on duty to watch him because he was on suicide watch. You have a man who's on suicide watch that was able to kill himself. So then the guards that were on duty, they took a break. All the cameras broke down at the time of his
no, I get it.
So there's all this stuff that makes you wonder, like, what the hell what really went on? And they're like, well, nobody went in, nobody went out, right? Okay, so you have a foreign journalist who goes into a foreign embassy and they never see him come out, right? And what they did was they cut his body into multiple
brought him out in bags,
in different suitcases that people were, So they can say that all they want, but there's too much historical evidence to prove that they could do any number of things, and we'll never know.
Well, let's just say this. You just said that all the cameras had broken down at the same time, and I remember hearing that. But if he says he's got camera footage he's going to release that shows no one went in and no one went out, then I want to see it.
Right.
Yeah.
But this is what I was thinking. This falls in line with the same thing about, hey, we're going to go to Fort Knox and see if there's any gold in there. Right? Remember that?
Yeah, I do.
And what happened with that? Nothing.
No, someone said just last week or something like that the gold definitely is there. Or about 2 weeks ago, I heard that. So Kenny says this.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I agree. Absolutely. Yeah, because he wasn't hiring. He wasn't trafficking girls for nobody.
Right.
It's not like he was doing it all himself. Maybe he was, or maybe his girlfriend. What's her name?
Maxine Waters? No, that's somebody else. That's the kind.
She's got a big mouth on her, but I don't think that's what she does.
Yeah. I know who you mean.
Giselle
Maxwell.
Giselle Maxwell or something.
Giselle Maxwell. Yeah, that's it.
So it wasn't those two that were trafficking women for themselves, right?
Right.
So there's and we already know that the Prince of Great Britain was one of the people that was doing part of the sex trafficking, right?
I don't know. It's hard to prove because she said he sweat and he says he doesn't sweat. So I don't know, but yeah.
Well, I'm gonna get on a really weird sidetrack, and this really is gonna tie in, right? So,
all right.
Harvey Weinstein, right? Everyone's like, oh, he's doing all these bad things to these girls so they have parts and they'll have sex. They all said that he wanted to have sex with them, and they did these sexual favors.
The casting couch.
The casting couch, right?
Mm-hmm.
So here's something that was on what's that girl's name? The black girl that you and I both like, the one
Candace Owens?
Candace Owens, right? So Candace Owens has a show. You can go look it up. Don't take my word for it, right? She did an interview with Harvey Weinstein and with his lawyers, right?
Yeah.
And I think it was with Harvey Weinstein. It was either Harvey Weinstein.
I think you're right. I think it was Harvey Weinstein. Yeah.
So here's how they made his case against these women that were attacking him for sexual advances and sexual favors and all this stuff, right? They would start describing his genitals to them, right? About the size of his penis and his scrotum and his two balls and blah blah blah, right? Well, apparently he had testicular cancer and had one of his balls removed.
Right.
So anytime they said they were playing with both his balls, you're out. Wrong, right?
Right.
So they had evidence to prove that these people were lying to try to get Harvey Weinstein prosecuted, right? So that being said, how do we know that the Prince of Great Britain does or doesn't sweat? Right?
Yeah, I'd like to see someone who doesn't sweat.
Yeah.
I
Well, you
can't
probably
imagine.
wouldn't want to see them if they don't
I
sweat.
can't imagine someone who
Right.
doesn't sweat. You
Yeah.
can't go out if you don't sweat. You can't go out in the heat.
Yeah.
You can't do anything.
Yeah.
And he
So-
doesn't seem like that kind of guy to me.
Right.
But
And-
anyway,
and- but maybe it's the same thing. Maybe it really is he doesn't sweat, and she's saying he was sweating. He's like, well, that's out because I don't sweat. So maybe it's just like a Harvey Weinstein. Well, she said I had
yeah,
two-
I don't
two
believe he
sperms
doesn't
and I
sweat. That's my
I'm not saying I believe it or not, but maybe that's what why they were bringing it up.
and the
Because
Harvey
maybe it really
Weinstein
does
could
have
be as
anything-
simple as, yeah, I was playing with his balls. She never looked down to see he only had one. She was only playing with, but she just was playing with, and just figured there was two. That could
Yeah.
be as simple as that.
Yeah, I'm not
But-
here to adjudicate either one of them. Right? I'm not here
Right.
to say that one is right, one is wrong. But when it starts coming into the what happened behind closed doors, we really
Yeah.
don't know unless there was a camera that was there that saw what happened.
Right. No,
Right.
I agree with you there. And these
So-
girls coming after him 15 years later or whatever it was, that's ridiculous.
Right.
It's crazy.
Yep.
If
Yep.
you didn't think it was rape then why are you thinking of rape now? You know why?
I can
Show
make
me
money.
the money. Show me the money.
Everyone's in line now. We can all get money out of this deal.
Exactly.
Right.
And they made that law where you could go back the one time law where you can go back as far as you want, and they're going to charge these cases. And that all these girls came out of the woodwork, tons of them. It's just like, you know what? If you didn't do it then, it's not that now. I mean, come on, man, that's just crazy.
It could be. It could be. Yeah, we don't want to say definitively it's not. It could have been, but
No, there are chances where it could be, but it's not
Right.
going to be 15 girls that just decided it's
Right.
not rape and now it is.
right. Yeah, and when you have 20 other girls like, yeah, I slept with them to get apart.
I need some money too. Yeah.
Yeah.
And from my understanding, after going through that and hearing other stuff, it sounds to me like there's a lot of that shit goes on in Hollywood. You want a part, you're going to have to do something for it.
Right.
And they're not. It's a casting couch. And Jeff and I said we heard about this back in the 70s. We heard about the casting couch.
in Kirkwood, New York. We knew about the casting couch.
Yeah.
So
Oh, I
Very
disagree,
good.
Kathy says. A young girl and you're poor, and then there's these really famous, well-connected people who's going to believe you can see why they couldn't come forward. Well, I can't disregard that, Kathy, but I don't
Right.
agree with it because
and that's why I said it's possible. It is possible.
and maybe you're right, but not this many of them
right.
going to feel like that. So one of them would have came forward. A few of them would have came forward back in the day. But what this was basically quid pro quo. You do this for me, and I'm going to get you a part in the movie, or at least I'm going to tell you I'm going to get you a part in the movie, and maybe I will, maybe I won't. But yeah,
Yeah, Kenny says
which is also illegal, by the way, but for a different reason. Yeah. Ken, you need evidence of sexual assault unless it's Trump being accused in New York. Exactly.
Yeah. And
Exactly.
then you have no evidence, but you're going to prosecute him for a crime.
Yeah. Yeah.
Never even met the lady, but he obviously raped her.
No, he met her. I'm sure of that. He's lying about that. I'm absolutely sure about that. He met her. But I'm not, I don't believe that what she says that's what happened. It's just ridiculous. But
Well, we might be talking about two different women. I'm just saying.
no, the one in New York where he got convicted of, isn't it Stormy Daniels? Isn't that the one?
Stormy Daniels was a case that she
Oh no, I know
lost.
who you're talking about.
She
Yeah,
lost, but then there's another woman who's this woman? Stormy Daniels, everyone knows she's like a porn star, right?
yeah.
So don't even
But-
want to say any more about that.
But I think if one of the girls heard other girls were brave enough to come forward, then maybe they were okay. She's going to do it. I'll do it too. Doesn't want to be the only ones to come forward against all these famous. Well, is there more to that? Famous. Well, okay, no. Again, Kathy, like I said, if it was one or two girls that got raped and then just and didn't come forward, I'd say you're right. But I got to say, out of I don't know how many it was, 15 or 20 girls, that
came forward after the fact,
Right.
some of those would have not waited till after the fact. That's my
Right.
point. It wouldn't. All of those girls wouldn't have just said, "Yeah, whatever."
Right.
Oh, now I can get some money. I'll come forward. That's just my opinion. But yeah.
Yeah.
Hey,
They're all
Travis,
entitled to
look
their
how long this
opinion,
stuff
so.
about P. Diddy took to come out. Kate Williams
Cat Williams
was
is a
Cat
guy.
Williams was saying this about P. Diddy for 20 years. Yeah.
Cat Williams was the original guy in Iron Man, in Iron Man 1, who was the soldier that came to fly one of the craft with Robert Downey Jr.
Oh, okay.
So that was Cat Williams, and they changed that when they started getting big. They changed it. They changed them out. So when Robert Downey Jr. was going to audition for Iron Man, they didn't want to have him, right? And
Yeah.
Cat Williams had already had the position that he had, and he talked to the directors and he said, "Look, you should give this guy a chance. He's a really good guy. I think he'll
Yeah.
do the part really well." So they
Turns
gave
out
him
he did.
They gave him an audition. They're like, "Wow, you nailed it, right?" So
Mhm.
then the next movie, when they were getting rid of Cat Williams, I'm pretty sure it's Cat Williams. When they're getting rid of Cat Williams, he was calling Robert Downey Jr. He's like, "Dude, can you help me out?" Robert Downey Jr. wouldn't take his call.
Right. Yeah. I remember you telling me that
That's
before.
really
Yeah.
sad. That's
Yeah.
really sad. I mean,
Yeah.
he got it. He got him the part, and your return on your investment is like, yeah, well, you're out, and we got a new guy.
Yeah.
Rhodey, right? Rhodey was a guy.
Oh,
So,
Rhodey. Yeah,
Cat
that's
Williams
right.
played
Yeah.
Rhodey. Yeah.
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 Colonel Rhodes. So yeah, and if you ever look up Cat Williams, he's got some really weird thought processes on physics and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
it'll really make you think, wow, he's a little weird, right?
Right.
Like he's lost a couple bales of hay out of the barn or something.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. So anyway,
Well, here's something I wanted to talk about that we may or may not agree on this, but is the Bitcoin of Trump and how he handled it.
I don't know a lot about that.
I think that Trump is making a lot of money off this Bitcoin, and he's making it off foreign governments. And then he went, and the ones who spent the most got a personal meeting with him. In my opinion, this is no better than what the Bidens were doing. Okay. The difference is Trump's doing it out in the open. He's not trying to hide it. Okay. But if he just sells a Bitcoin for way more than what it's worth, and he's taking these guys and they're getting personal meetings with him, it's not good.
Right.
No, he said that's Terrence Howard. Kenny says, I know, but I wasn't a big fan of it when it first started. I don't know a lot about Bitcoin, but I'm like, why would someone pay so much for a coin of Trump? And turns out, there are a bunch of people that were spending millions and millions and millions of dollars on this, and they got personal meet and greet with the president. Well, he's basically sold himself to them, and it's no better than what the Bidens were doing. And I think it's bullshit, and he needs to stop it, and he can't do it. And I mean, Fox News is backing up. Oh, he's doing it on his personal time. I don't care if he's doing it not on his personal time or on his personal time. It doesn't matter. They're still meeting with the president of the United States, and it's ridiculous that Fox News will back him up on this. It's crazy. It just drives me nuts that they kiss Trump's ass like
not everyone
on
at Fox News does. So there's a
Sunday pretty much guy, almost everyone does.
What's the Sunday morning guy that you and I both like because he has a different perspective?
No, Sunday weekends are different, and I'm going to say this about CNN and Fox. Weekends are different. They both are more towards the middle on the weekends, both CNN and Fox. But the guy you're talking about, I can picture his face. I can't think of his name. But he always has people on from both sides, and he always questions both sides.
Howie Kurtz. Howie Kurtz, is that his name? Howard Kurtz?
I don't know. I'll tell you. I'll look him up, and then I'll see if that's what I'm thinking about.
Kurtz.
It sounds right, though.
Yeah.
But yeah.
His logo looks like a Marvel logo. Yeah. It's kind of fun, but That seems like a copyright violation.
I must have spelled it wrong. Kurtz. Howie Kurtz. Let me put this. Fox News. Howard Kurtz.
Yeah,
Let's see if that's who it is. Let's see if they get it. Yes, that's the guy, Howard Kurtz. Yes.
I was
He's
right.
very in the
Hold
middle,
up,
and
hold up.
he questions
Grab it out
both
of my
sides
brain.
if he thinks they're going off the rail and saying something that's not true.
Yeah. He
so
had
yeah.
Tommy Loren on his show this morning. Is that her name? Tommy Loren. And she's like, look, I'm not saying I'm going to be for this or not, because I was against it when, Biden did the pay for play. I'm against it when, because Biden issued pardons. She goes, because they were talking about pardons. Trump has, issued some pretty interesting pardons recently.
Yes, he has. Yeah.
And she's like, look, I don't think presidents should be able to pardon. I don't think they should. And if you're going to make a big stink about President Trump's pardons, then you ought to start talking about President Biden's pardons.
Well, you should. And
at least be consistent on it.
But I've already said about Biden's pardons, and now I'm going to say about Trump's pardons. And here's what I think. Two things. One, the executive orders, you got to limit them, and our country's got out of control with executive orders. Basically, an executive order is one person rule. Okay, because you're not going through Congress, you're not doing anything. It's one person rule. I didn't like it when Biden did it. I don't like it when Trump does it. Okay.
Right.
Second thing is pardon. And so what they should do
to solve that, by the way, two ways.
Okay.
To solve
Yeah. So and the Democrats are trying to solve it by taking everything to court. Okay, which is crazy. Because who knows how it's going to play out. But when I said about that before,
that's a third way to solve it. That's not one of the ways I would consider solving the
either. This is what I look at. So either Trump is putting the pardons out knowing they're illegal and just hoping they'll go through, or Trump is putting them out thinking they're legal, and the Democrats are just going to take everything to court, just try to solve it. And I'm going to bet it's somewhere in between. Right? Some of them are on either side. What's that?
Talking about executive orders, right?
Executive orders, yeah. Executive orders. Yeah, I'm sorry. But and pardons is the same. It's the same thing. So let's just not get rid of them completely. Let's put a number on it. Okay. Let's just say you get 15 pardons and 15 executive orders through your whole presidency. Okay. For 4 years. Okay. So if you get another 4 years, you get to add them up again. That would make a huge difference, I think.
It would. That would require a constitutional amendment, right? So we all.
Oh, absolutely.
Works. I'm not saying that we shouldn't, but
Well, what is the Constitutional Amendment saying that they can put these things up there to begin with?
Well, there isn't, but nobody's challenging in court, right?
There we go.
So Congress can say, look, we don't think executive orders are right for the president to do, so we're going to pass a law that says executive orders are null and void.
Yes. The problem is neither side wants that.
Well, yeah, but neither side wants it, but neither side wants to do their freaking job. I mean, that's the problem with Congress. Whether you're Republican or Democrat, you're not doing a job. You're just up there to collect the pay and try to figure out how you can get reelected in 2 years or 6 years.
Right.
Which I think is just asinine. That's not the whole purpose of your job in the Constitution of the United States. The Constitution outlines your job. Do your freaking job. And oh, by the way, the Constitution doesn't say you have to live in Washington, D.C. It says you can come once or twice a year and meet together as a group. Right. Instead of living there the whole time and taxpayer dime.
Well, that's one thing you can't say about Trump right now, is that he's making decisions to try to get reelected, because he's not. That's for sure.
Well, you and I agree that Trump cannot get a third term, right?
Right.
But there's already people talking about Trump having a third term, which I just think is asinine. It reminds me of
if that happens, I hope there's a revolt in our country. If they try to get him a third term, there should be a revolt in our country. For the fact that it's against the Constitution, and for secondly, he's just too old.
Right. But so when Lindsey Graham decided after the Supreme Court said, you know what, we're going to overturn Roe v. Wade and we're going to put it back to the states, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the next day, Lindsey Graham comes out, we need to make a national law that says that we can have abortions, or we can ban abortions. I'm like, did you not read the order that the Supreme Court just gave to say that we're pushing this back to the states? We're not saying it's a federal needs to come in and step in and make a law. we're saying we don't think the federal law that was created under Roe v. Wade was legitimate because it should be up to the states, right? But Lindsey Graham is a person who's like, if there's any camera that's out there, don't get in between him and the camera. That's all I can say.
Well, Ken says Congress complains and hold hearings and solves nothing. You're absolutely right, Ken.
Yeah, you're right. And when they talk about they're going to hold these people accountable, they don't have the authority to hold anybody accountable, right? And this is what we learned under Joe Biden's administration, right? Was they're like, look, you lied to Congress. So
they can put people in jail for lying to Congress.
No, they can't.
Martha Stewart got put in jail for lying to Congress.
Not by Congress.
But what I'm saying is you have to get someone else to do it, but you can go to jail for lying to Congress. The problem is they don't push it unless you're Martha Stewart, evidently.
No, you can push it, right? They don't have the authority to do anything except for make a recommendation to the Department of Justice that this person lied to Congress and they violated.
But they don't do that. That's my
point. They do that. They did it under Biden administration. They're doing it under Trump administration.
What are they doing?
They've given letters of recommendation to the Department of Justice to hold somebody in contempt of court for lying in Congress.
I don't remember hearing that.
There's a couple people that they did under Biden, and they basically said, "Screw you, we're not going to do it." So the Department of Justice didn't enforce the request.
So right? I guess unless you're Martha Stewart, they're not going to put you in jail.
Right, which is
if I was Martha Stewart, I'd be pissed.
And she should be, right? But see, even under the Trump administration, Congress doesn't have the authority to do anything. All they can do is make a recommendation to the Department of Justice, and the Department of Justice has to take their recommendation and do something with it. They have to, arrest a person. They have to, charge the person with a crime and make a trial and arrest them, right? But they're not doing it because Congress doesn't want to do their freaking job.
Right.
They would much rather have the judicial branch decide what to do rather than make a law themselves. Well, if they make a law that says there's no abortion, then they're not going to get reelected, right?
Congress can have the sergeant at arms arrest someone and hold them until the trial is over. I didn't know about that, but I'm going to say this: I had a conversation with my son a while back.
In the Congress, they can
they
can't make the Congress as a sergeant at arms to go pick them up.
I was actually driving him to work, and we were talking about what were we talking about? I don't remember what it was, but it's something the Republicans were doing. Oh, I was saying, why are they drawing the line on this guy that they sent to the prison?
El Salvador.
Why don't they just bring him back?
The father from Maryland. Yeah, the great father from Maryland.
No, just bring him back, do it right, and send him back. Why don't they do that? I don't get it. I don't understand why they're drawing a line in the sand here. Just do it right. Okay, because they admitted they did it wrong. Okay, so just do it right, because he's not going to go anywhere. So my son says to me, well, I know why, but you don't want to hear. I go, sure, tell me why. He goes, well, because the Republicans want to keep us divided. And I go, I think both of them want to keep us divided. And that's my point of this right here. I think both parties want to keep us divided so that they can keep their base together and not let it explode into something else. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's actually kind of sad. And my hope was, and he's still got time, and I told my brother this, I'm like, look, he has 2 years to prove himself. President Trump has 2 years to prove himself, right? If he doesn't do what he said he's going to do in 2 years, and he's going to lose the House, he's going to lose the Senate, he's going to have no power for the last 2 years of his presidency, right? That was one thing, right? Yeah. Now, with regard to him having a third
hang on. Hold that thought, though. I might say this. He may not do his job, and he may still have the power, because Democrats are just stupid right now.
I can't even argue with you on that, brother. I mean, it's like no matter what they do, they're gonna run right over the hill. And
they keep doubling down on stupid stuff. It's just like, whatever.
Well, Gavin Newsom is a great example. He had this a track star, a male who's posing as a woman. I'm going to say it exactly. That's
what it is.
I don't give a shit what anyone says about it. It's a man who's posing as a woman, and he's killing all these women in track stars. And he's beating them out in their scores, and he's suddenly now going to go to state, right? And it got Gavin Newsom say, "Well, that's terrible. I don't agree with that." But you could do something about it. You're the governor of the state of California. You could actually do something about it if you wanted to. You just
he doesn't want
to. Yeah, because
he wants to be able to run for president, and he wants to be able to say, I said this wasn't right.
Yeah. Well, you know what?
He's trying, but it's hard with the courts are holding everything up.
You're right. But you know what? that's where Congress needs to step in and say, you know what, you're violating your constitutional duty as a judge. You don't have the authority to do this, and we're slapping you down, right? So
Yeah.
these judges get appointed for life, but they get appointed for life under the Constitution, under the Congress, right? Congress
Yeah.
has the authority to get rid of them if they want to.
Well, here's my problem. It's like, where did we get to where you're either a conservative judge or a liberal judge? They all should just be judges. They all should just follow the law. We should not interpret it into other shit. Okay.
Right.
And someone once told me, well, sometimes you gotta try to be a little understanding and and I'm like, no, if you don't like the law, you change the law.
Right.
You don't bring a judge in who's going to ignore the law, because that's going to make us a weak country.
Right. But then it goes back to Congress not wanting to do their job, which is to make laws, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if President Trump, all these executive orders that he passed, if Congress implements them into law, they become law, right? And
Right.
then the next president who comes in can't just say, I'm eliminating all of Trump's executive orders. We're going to do it.
Hey, Terry Klein Mishu is watching. Hello, Terry.
All right, Harry.
Go ahead, brother.
Terry Klein. But Congress doesn't want to do their job, and that's the thing that really pisses me off about this. They have a job responsibility under the Constitution of the United States, and they don't want to do it. So because they don't want to do it, it doesn't get done, and then suddenly it's like, oh well, we have a new president. He can get rid of all the previous president's executive orders if he wants to. Because by the way, one of the executive orders that Biden didn't get rid of was tariffs on China.
Right.
So Trump imposed tariffs on China in his first 4 years.
Right.
And Biden didn't get rid of them.
No, but he got away around them somehow. I read this the other day that somehow he got around them. And I don't remember how it was, or maybe he didn't get rid of it, but he didn't charge them or something like that.
He's getting paid. They were flying
Right.
a balloon over the northern part of.
Well, we know China gave his family like $20 million? Was that what it was? Or I don't remember what it was.
At least.
What was it?
I don't know. It was you talking to me or talking to someone?
Yeah, I'm talking to you. What was how much money do we know they gave you?
It was tens of millions of dollars, I know.
Yeah.
So tens of millions. I don't know if it's 20 or 30. But yeah, it's like they're just and nobody said that was pay for play, right? Even when Joe Biden makes a statement on national news that, I told him if you don't get rid of that prosecutor, then you're not going to get your $1 billion.
Right.
Well, who are you to tell me?
Yeah, that's quid pro quo out of his mouth.
Right. But that's not. No, he didn't do that, Rick. He didn't do quid pro quo.
It's on video. You can look it up anywhere you want to go right now.
I agree with 100%. But that's the Democrats' lie. They just they lie to your face. That never happened, right? So, but yeah, it's just
So I was going to say,
stand up and do something.
So you say Congress doesn't do their job, and I'm going to tell you why it's easy for Congress to not do their job, because our news agencies don't do their job. Okay, like I said, the mainstream media lets them get away with anything, and Fox News kisses the Republicans' ass like you can't believe. Nobody is reporting. Everybody should be reporting good and bad stuff about everybody, and that's not what happens. And you can get away with shit because someone will say, well, they'll just ignore what you said, or that's not exactly what was said, whatever. But
there's good people on both sides, in Charlottesville. So
right, exactly.
Nobody heard the whole conversation.
That's deep fake video, LOL.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, well,
that's what the Biden administration was saying when they were showing all the videos of him falling and some of them.
Oh yeah, I know. That was just crazy. And like I said, we saw those videos, but we knew without those videos that crap was going on. We've been talking about this forever.
Right.
And
plus, now all that's on video, because there's a video where Morning Joe says, "Look, I want you to record this right now. Joe Biden is in the prime of his life. He's the smartest, most intelligent man ever. You can quote me on that. And if you don't like it, you can go F yourself."
And now it's his book that's creating all this stir.
No, that's the guy on CNN. So
that's right. The guy on CNN. That's him, right?
Yeah. Jake Tapper.
Jake Tapper. He said the same shit though.
Yeah.
You can find him saying the same stuff.
Yeah, pretty much. But he didn't say, you can quote me on this. You need to record this. And the great
no, he didn't go that far, but he
right.
was saying that Joe Biden, I don't know why people are asking, Joe Biden's good, he's in good shape, right. and whatever he said. But yeah.
It's
All right.
crazy. Anyway, we've been on and ranting and raving for an hour and 15 minutes. We had
We've been having fun.
sort of a plan that we did. We covered some of it, but we want to thank you all for coming. We want to thank God for our great nation, because as much as my brother and I argue and complain, we love our country, we love our nation, we love our flag, we love our soldiers. We thank God for our military. We thank God for our police officers. We thank God for our firefighters and our first responders. And thank you all for coming. God bless you, and God bless America.
Everything my brother said times two. God bless you all, and thanks for showing up. It's the end of the show, and it's time to go.
It's time to go. And we're not even gonna get banned because you can't
No.
barely hear the music.
Yeah, and every time I talk, it goes down. I know that's never happened before, so I don't know what the deal is going on there.
Maybe it's a new feature.
No, some upgrade. Yeah, Dr. Drew was saying some of the treatments for the cancer hidden Biden has caused mental decline. So how long has that he had it? Yeah, and that's right. I read that too, Kenny. That the treatment for the cancer that he has can cause, it's not permanent mental decline, but it can cause mental decline. But I think what he's got is permanent mental decline. So.
And I will leave
Thanks,
you
Kenny.
with this one last statement. President Trump posted on Truth Social the other day that President Biden was assassinated in 2022. So just to leave you with that. God bless you, and God bless
And
America.
one more thing. I've been thinking this for a long time. I wonder what the odds are that RFK Jr. or Trump get assassinated before the end of this term.
Oh, I got one more thing to say.
And I don't wish, I hope it doesn't happen. Oh my gosh.
Right.
But my feeling is those two guys are going against the system so much. Is the system going to try to come back? That's all. And then I'm done. Okay, go ahead, brother.
The Punisher. That's all I'm going to say.
The Punisher. All right, brother. Love you guys. Thank you very
God
much.
bless you all. See ya.